Howdy y'all, welcome back to Hollis Garage. I might have to do this again because I got all the way out of the house and my TikTok decided it's not going to want to work. So, the perks of having a new phone. So, let me go show you all what I've been working on. So, we did not do any of the footage of any of what I was doing with all of this. But, if you recognize these tires, I, I think we got our miles out of them. Maybe not so much out of that one, but we definitely got them out of that one. And if you don't recognize what those tires are from, let me just introduce you to Old Ugly. Now, Old Ugly was sitting on jack stands, these jack stands, for about a year-ish, because I didn't have tires to put back on it. And I found this junk one laying around, had a broken bead, well, a gouged bead, but it has just enough life in it for it to hold up, hopefully, and not fall off the bead. Hopefully. Because I'm not looking forward to jacking this thing back up, putting it back on jack stands just to fix that. But this is the first time tonight that it has been on all 6 wheels for a very long time. Now, if you don't remember this truck, I did a revival on it back in 2024, which is about 2 years ago. And the last couple years have been nuts. And I'm not saying that I haven't enjoyed taking care of these 2 kids, but it's been a rough time getting back to my projects, having the motivation to do them, and the ability to just stop what I'm doing, whether it be work, whether it be life, and just come up here and work. So if I can, real quick, I will stitch in a couple clips of whenever I first got it running, and we're going to go over a couple things on this. I'm going to go crank on her. You guys just watch that, make sure nothing catches fire or anything. Holy crap, she's actually trying. No, let's try that one more time. You guys keep an eye on that. Well, holy crap. It appears we have a runner. Oh, God. Oh. Now, I haven't been able to get back to my projects for a very long time. My projects being, of course, Old Ugly and Firebird. That is literally my profile picture on TikTok and I think, no, not YouTube. Point being, I haven't gotten to do anything. But anyway, back to the topic of what this video is about. Old Ugly was parked in 2000, and my grandpa told me that if I could get it running, that I could have it. So I got it running and driving and drove it home. Now, the reason I haven't messed with it much is I went and did valve cover gaskets and noticed that all the valves were loose, or the rockers were loose. So I was like, logic, they're loose, tighten them down. I hadn't worked. This is the first actual old engine that I have messed with that deep. So I tightened them all down and then turned it over. Thankfully, this is a 400 small block and it's a lot more forgiving. So of course, you guys can go back and rewatch the video of me reviving this thing. It is posted to my YouTube, which I will uh, attempt to link in the description. So you guys can go back and watch some of the videos I have pertaining to this old girl. Now, there's a lot of things that I have got to get done to this old girl. My first goal being getting it roadworthy again. Now, of course, whenever I did revive it, there were a few things I had to do that I'm going to have to undo to make this thing roadworthy again. One of those being this old deal, because whenever I got this thing running, the rear brakes were blown out, and I just wanted to put a 1/4-inch plug in it. Well, they had a proportion block coming out of the master to the rear brakes, and then this line that goes into the firewall. I do not know what this line controls. And another thing that I have to do is a harmonic balancer is bad. And I have to get all the belts off and do all that, which I'm hoping to do this weekend with my dad after we get this thing running again, after readjusting all the valves the right way. Now, of course, I went through and painted this. It's got a new air cleaner in there, brand new. It's sitting on a basically fresh oil change, although I'm still going to change it. I got to figure out why this all leaked out, because that was full, and now it's not. It's bone dry. And I doubt that it's because the radiator's leaking, because I just had this radiator fixed, as you can see by, well, I guess you can't really see it, but I had all of this refluxed because it was leaking out of here. But, oh, and I put a new coolant reservoir in it. But this is an original AC truck, which is why I really wanted it so much. I got to put a air correct AC pump on it, and then I'll have AC again after I redo all the lines. But this does have a title. My grandpa has it. After we went through the rigmarole of getting it all the lien that was on it for some reason released. Of course, it had been 20 years, so of course they did a lien release. And I want to get everything dealt with. So I'm going to go find me a piece of cardboard and write down a list of all the things that I need to do to it. Okay. So now we have our list. I got to figure out why the fuel pump is losing its prime. That was an issue that I was dealing with whenever we first got it home, and it would just lose its prime and then fall on its face. So that's something I need to figure out. It would run fine if you put it down in the fuel deal in the carburetor, and it would run fine for quite a while. So I don't know what that issue was. Obviously, we need to do rear brakes, which will entail of dealing with all the brake lines up here, all the way back to the back brakes, as well as getting the rear drums off and looking at those and making sure all those look fine. Next being valves and harmonic balancer. Those two I'm hoping to take care of this weekend. If we can't get to the harmonic balancer, that's fine. I will do that at a later time. The dash. That's something I took apart last off camera and kind of rebuilt, made sure all the bulbs were working, and I'm going to have to take it all back apart and redo everything with the old plate, because I had another instrument cluster that I was salvaging parts from and trying to get this one to work. I'm going to have to use that one. Lower and upper rad hoses. The top one I don't think is leaking, but the bottom one probably is. So we're going to go ahead and replace both of them. Windshield wipers. We will need those eventually, not currently. Driver's window, which I have right around here in the corner, will hopefully be dealt with this weekend. And side mirrors, both of them are cracked. Bedsides, whenever we put it in here, Pitman arm went through the bedside and cracked my taillight, which goes into the taillights and turn signals, as well as the reverse light. It wasn't turning on whenever I was going into reverse. And last but not least, tires. This will be the last thing we do. Now, I should add that this list just gets it running and back on the road and hopefully road legal. Also, just a quick clip of the hole in the bedside. I do have a parts truck, and I'm planning on bringing it over here so I can assess what I have. So if you would like to see this old square body back on the road, subscribe on my YouTube, follow here on TikTok, like, comment, subscribe, share it all around, and we'll be back as soon as we can.